It's your boy Melodious B here, my first YouTube video, and today I want to talk to you about something all NHL fans can agree on, and that's the loser point and how much it sucks. That's right. You're rewarding teams for losing in the NHL. You're giving them a point. How stupid is that? You know, if only that applied to real life, if they gave points to losers, I'd be Wilt Chamberlain. Anyways, let's get into it for you. Want to give you a brief history before I tell you my solution for the loser point. We'll get in the Wayback Machine, give you a little history on the point system in the NHL. We'll go back to World War II,
when 2 points were awarded for a win, no points for a loss, and 1 point for a tie. And then in 1983, they added the 5-minute sudden death overtime period.
And that remained up until 1999, 2000, when somebody got the bright idea that a loser should get a point. And so in 1999, 2000, the NHL started awarding 1 point for the team that lost the overtime game. So after 60 minutes, if the game was tied, each team was guaranteed at least 1 point, and that system remained for another 5 years when the NHL Competition Committee got together and decided that the fans want to see an outcome to a game. They don't want to come to a game and see a tie. No, we paid big money. We want to see a winner. So what'd they come up with? 2005, they borrowed something from international competition that had been in use for years, and at some junior levels, I believe the AHL had been using it for some time. They introduced the shootout. They still played 60 minutes regulation, 5 minutes in overtime, and if the game was still tied, they introduced the shootout skills competition. And that year, they did away with the tie games. They did away with the ties. So as of 2005, 2006, still get 2 points for a win. Regulation, overtime, or shootout. And if you play to a tie at the end of 60 minutes, losing team's guaranteed 1 point. So they got the loser point. They're still giving it out. And I'm going to give you my solution, how we can fix the point system. But first, I did a little research. I went back about 10 years, and I looked at the standings. And for the last 10 years, about one team every year misses the playoffs. A team with more wins will miss the playoffs than another team who gets in with fewer wins because they've got more overtime losses, more loser points. And that gets them into playoffs, and a poor team doesn't make it, even though they won more games during the season. On average, last 10 years, about one team a year misses the playoffs with more wins than another playoff team because of the loser point. It doesn't happen every year. Some years there have been 2 teams get in with fewer wins. Some years nobody gets in. But on average, about one team a year for the last 10 years. One in particular I want to talk to you about. We'll go back to 2011, 2012. You all remember that year, that Los Angeles Kings improbable Stanley Cup run. 2011, 2012, they won it all. 8th seed Los Angeles Kings. There you go. 2011, 2012 Stanley Cup champions. There's the classic LA Kings logo there, the crown. And there's the guy, I believe that's Rob Scuderi there, doing a victory lap around the Great Western Forum. Kings won the National Hockey League Stanley Cup, Lord Stanley's Cup, as an 8th seed. And the fascinating thing about that year, the Kings got into the playoffs. in spite of having fewer wins than both Dallas and Colorado. That year, Kings got in as an 8th seed. They just had 40 wins that year. You can see both Dallas and Colorado. Dallas with 42, Colorado 41 wins that year. I'll get my figures out of the way. Both had more wins than the Kings, who got in as an 8th seed in the Western Conference that year on the strength of their 15 loser points that year. Got them in over both Dallas and Colorado, and you got Calgary in there, wedged in there with 37 wins. Loser points got them in, and guess what? They won it all. Rob Scuderi got to do his victory lap around the Great Western Forum. And I'm happy for him. It's a beautiful thing that he got to do that, but they got in on the strength of loser points. So we're going to get into how we can fix that. What's done is done. We can't go back in time. I don't want to take their Stanley Cup away from them. But we can fix it for today. And I was doing some research on it, went back, ran some numbers. There's been a lot of articles written about this subject. I'm not breaking any new ground here. I think you know that. On the loser point, a lot of articles online written. It's been talked about how stupid the loser point is. We got to get rid of it. What can we do to fix it? And let's talk about that here. Guys, a lot of guys had different ideas I've seen on there. Some folks, they want to get rid of the shootout, bring back the tie game, get rid of the loser point, 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie. I haven't seen one guy was talking about just playing the game until somebody wins. Even a regular season, let's play 8 periods until there's a winner. Interesting idea. There was another alternate point theory that was thrown out there that I kind of liked. It's something, I guess they do it in soccer. Not a big soccer fan, forgive me. But I guess some soccer leagues, they give out 3 points for a win. And here's what, God bless them. I don't know. I think this is a common, solution out there. People want to do 3 points for a win. This guy's idea, I think he's not necessarily an original idea. He wants to award 3 points for a win, 2 points for a regulation win, and just 1 point for a shootout win. Losers get 0, which I'm on board with. I think loser, you lose, you get nothing. Okay, I'm on board with that. But, it sounds like a good idea. And when I first I thought, yeah, that's a good idea, Incentivize teams to win the game in regulation. You play 60 minutes, you play 6-on-6. That's hockey. That's the game, right? You want to win the game, you should be rewarded. Because you go to overtime, you're playing 3-on-3. It's a different game. It's not hockey, okay? It's Gus Macker on ice, right? Remember the Gus Macker tournaments? I remember high school, the guys used to play in the 3-on-3 Gus Macker basketball tournaments. I don't know if they still have those or not, but that's what they're doing in overtime. 3 skaters aside. It's a different game, okay? So he thinks, give him 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for winning the Gus Macker game, and then you have the shootout. If you win the shootout, you just get 1 point, which sounds good, right? In theory. And I was thinking about it, but it's not quite there for me. My opinion, I didn't think he quite had it right. For starters, 3 points for a win. It's been 2 points for a win forever in the NHL, okay? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. 2 points for a win is perfect. Let's keep it. Keep it simple. 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. It gets to be a little convoluted. Let's keep it simple. 2 points for a win is perfect. And then 1 point for a shootout versus 3 points for a regulation win. Then you're talking about the shootout basically being worth 1/3 of a win which, I mean, you're really devaluing the shootout. As much as I hate the shootout, I'd like to see it go. I'd be happy to bring back ties. It's not going to happen. Well, not the world we live in. They're not going to bring back ties. And if the shootout's here, it's here to stay. It's got to be worth something. If it's worth 1/3 of a win, at that point, it's almost just an exhibition. It's not really worth much. So those were the issues I had with this guy's 3-2-1 point system. And I kind of came up with my own idea on what we need to do to fix the point system. I'm going to get into it for you right now. See what you guys think. So I went into it. Let's keep 2 points for a win. 2 points for a regulation win. We want to incentivize teams to win the hockey game, which is 3 periods, 20 minutes, 6-on-6, 5 skaters aside. That's the game. You win the game, you get 2 points, like it's always been. Now, let's get into overtime. We're going to get into overtime real quick. Game's tied at the end of 60 minutes. You didn't win the game, okay? You get to play the Gus Macker tournament, 3-on-3. Okay, you win that game. You don't get 2 points because you didn't win the game. You want to win the Gus Macker game, you get a point. You get 1 point for winning in overtime. You lose, you get nothing. Now, I'm going to unveil my system. 1 point for an overtime win. And then if you don't win the Gus Macker, you go to the shootout. You win the skills competition. The fans get to see a winner. They paid big money. They came to the arena. They get to see an outcome. They get to go home. The home team won the shootout skills or the home team lost. Oh, either way, they get to see resolution. And if you win the shootout, guess what? You get 1 point. You win Gus Macker or you win the shootout. You didn't win the game, but you know what? You get a point. So here's my new system. My solution. Hallelujah. 2 points for a win. Regulation. 60 minutes. You win the hockey game. Game goes overtime. Or to a shootout. Gus Macker. Skills competition. You win that. You get 1 point. Losers get nothing. And here's the thought process. We want to incentivize teams to win the game in regulation. 2 points for a win. You win the game in regulation, you get 2 points. So we want exciting action at the end of a game. We don't want teams mailing it in the last 5 minutes because they know they're going to get a point if the game goes into overtime. We want them to know that if the game goes into overtime, at best you're going to lose a point. So you're going to play for this thing. Okay? You're going to try to win it in regulation. And then if the game goes into overtime, you get to play Gus Macker. And if you win the Gus Macker hockey game, you get a point. Okay? It's not hockey. And then you go to the shootout. If it's still tied after the 5-minute Gus Macker tournament, you get to play for a point. So regulation winners, 2 points. Shootout winners, overtime winners, both get a point. Fix it. Fix it. Everything's fixed. Fans get to see a winner. There's an outcome. Losers don't get points anymore because losers don't deserve points. So that's it. Now, I've given you my new solution, my new system. Let's revisit the 2011-2012 season. LA Kings improbable Stanley Cup run. Just for fun. Here we go. My new system, revised standings, 2011-2012. What do we have? 8th seed. Guess what? The LA Kings dropped from 8 to 9. Dallas Stars actually made the jump into the 8th seed. And interesting, I went back in my research, I noticed in the Western Conference standings, which changed somewhat. I went back in. The seedings changed a little bit. Actually, the top 3 seeds, the division winners, changed when I went back in and recalculated the standings using my revised point system. The middle of the pack stayed the same, but then at the bottom, as we see here, Dallas got in. They missed the playoffs under the original system. And if you see here, San Jose at 7, Dallas at 8, the Kings at 9. All had 31 regulation wins during the regular season. And then the tiebreaker was the overtime / shootout wins. San Jose had 12, Dallas 11, 9 for the Kings. So the Kings would have missed the playoffs. The other thing I noticed here was Calgary and Colorado had 41 wins. They had 16 shootout / overtime wins. Only 25 regulation wins. They dropped down to 11th place in the conference from 9. Fascinating stuff. And another interesting thing I noticed, Calgary here actually had 32 regulation wins. So they had one more regulation win than San Jose, Dallas, and the Kings, and they missed the playoffs. So there you go. It's not perfect, but guess what? You're not awarding teams for losing. You're penalizing teams for winning in overtime. And guess what? You're not devaluing the shootout. As much as I hate the shootout, I'd love to see it go. But that's not the world we live in. Okay, the shootout's here to stay, and I don't want to make it worth a third of a point. It's got to be worth something. So that's my solution for the NHL loser point system. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me to pound sand. Maybe you got a better idea. Well, you don't have a better idea, but maybe you got a different idea on how it should be fixed. Go for it, man. You can tell me I'm ugly, tell me I'm stupid, whatever you want to say. It's fine by me, but I'm glad you took the time to watch the video. A little long-winded, but God willing, if I ever make another one, maybe I'll see you then. Until next time, I will see you guys later. And leave Woody alone.